Anthropic never said it's worth $2 trillion. Its investors did, 6 of them. And the gap between what the company said and what its backers said is the whole story. We're watching what may be the biggest IPO in history play out in front of us, but the company hasn't said a word. When Anthropic filed confidentially with the SEC in June, it entered a quiet period, which means the company can't hype the number. So it isn't, but the number exists anyway. 2 trillion, maybe 3. Let's talk about where this number comes from and what you miss if you take it at face value. Hey, welcome to New Stock Signals. I'm Bill Smith, founder of Renaissance Capital, which for over 30 years has analyzed more than 11,000 IPOs. I read every comment, so be sure to share your thoughts below. Nothing in this video constitutes personalized investment advice. Always consult your own financial advisor before making investment decisions. After the $2 trillion report came out, almost everyone started talking about whether Anthropic is a good company, good enough to justify that kind of valuation. What they should be talking about is who's holding the pen when a valuation gets written. If you're a serious individual investor, someone who wants to see the machinery most people never see, this one's for you. Because when the largest listing in market history arrives, the first number you hear won't come from the company. It'll come from someone with a position to protect. I'm going to show you how to tell the difference. Let's go back to May 2012. Facebook goes public, most anticipated listing of its generation, a $104 billion valuation. By September, it had traded down about 50%. Now, Facebook went on to compound into one of the great businesses of the century. So the story isn't hyped IPOs fail. The story is subtler. The hype and the business were two different clocks. The narrative priced Facebook for a future it hadn't earned yet. The business had to go earn it. And in the gap between those two clocks, early buyers got cut in half. This gap is almost always widest at the IPO because at the IPO, the only voices in the room are the ones who bought in early and want out at a markup. Let's look at who's actually writing Anthropic's price tag. The Financial Times talked to 6 Anthropic backers. Those investors expect a $2 trillion plus valuation, listing as early as October. It would be the largest IPO ever, bigger than SpaceX, which went public in June at $1.77 trillion. Now here's the line most coverage skipped right past. Senior Anthropic executives had not set a valuation target, even in private conversations. The investors built their own financial models instead. And here's the arithmetic behind the bet. One investor's logic: if a company is growing 800% a year, then even at the low end, you'd trade it at 30 times revenue. Run this math on Anthropic's projected revenue, and you get to $3 trillion. But this isn't a measurement. It's a bet on a growth rate holding. Change the growth assumption, the math shifts. And keeping myself honest, the growth is reportedly real. Annualized revenue went from around $9 billion at the end of 2025, past $30 billion in the spring, to $47 billion by May. Backers expect $100 to $120 billion by year end. That's a real business growing at a speed we've almost never seen, if the expectations pan out. But that's the point. When the growth is this exciting, nobody checks who's doing the multiplying. The insight isn't the number is wrong. The insight is a valuation vacuum got filled by the people who profit most from filling it. To make this insight useful, you need to change one habit. When a number arrives, ask who benefits from your believing it before you ask whether it's right. 3 simple filters. First, separate the business from the price. Based on everything we know right now, Anthropic the business is extraordinary. $2 trillion is a claim about the business. The excitement about the first quietly smuggles in the second. Second, consider the source's position. An existing backer projecting a $2 trillion valuation isn't lying, but their shares are worth more if you agree. You should weigh the information carefully. Third, watch what the number leaves out. The $2 trillion case is built almost entirely on the growth rate continuing. It's quiet on the risks. Find the risks yourself. Now, do not confuse a confident number with a verified one. Precision feels like truth. 2 trillion sounds more real than a lot, but a decimal point is not evidence. Now let me steelman the other side, because I expect many of you are already pushing back. The revenue is real. This isn't 2012. Facebook had a business. Anthropic has one too. So why be cautious? Caution isn't a prediction it'll fall. Jim Cramer defended the number on CNBC. His point being, if the revenue arrives, the multiple holds. He might be right, but if the revenue arrives is carrying the entire sentence. And here's what the 2 trillion headline doesn't say out loud. Anthropic's top model costs more than 2.5 times as much to run as OpenAI's flagship. Some customers are already trimming AI spend or moving to cheaper models. And there's real friction with the US government. Export controls briefly pulled its top models in June, and revenue growth slowed that month before recovering. None of this means the IPO fails. I'm not predicting a direction. I don't know where it prices, and neither does anyone selling you certainty. What I'm saying is narrower, and I'll stand behind it. The number came from interested parties, it leans on one assumption holding, and it goes quiet on the risks. Discipline isn't bearish, it's just refusing to let someone else's math become your conviction. Anthropic didn't say 2 trillion. Its backers did the math and set it for the company. The gap between those two facts is the entire lesson. The market narrative is often incomplete because the person closest to the microphone usually has a position. Your job isn't to trust the number or reject it. Your job is to know who wrote it. If this reframe was useful and you want to watch the biggest listing in history with clear eyes, subscribe. We don't chase the headline, we read who wrote it. And if you want the full framework before Anthropic flips its S1, it's in my book, The New AI Stock Edge. Pre-orders linked below. When the first number arrives, don't ask if it's true. Ask who's writing it.